Today we're talking Demkos. You know, who likes Demkos here? Now, I like them, and you know I like Demkos. We're going to take a shot every time we say Demkos today. Now, the viewer knows that Andrew Demko, that still counts, has been a legendary custom knife maker and designer for years. He really helped Cold Steel become king of the mountain with their murder masterpieces and their works of martial arts. For example, you know, I hope you haven't forgotten Andrew is responsible for the Espada XL. You know, some fellas don't need a blue pill when they see that. And that would be a red flag, okay? Or the AD-15 here with its extremely innovative scorpion lock, you know. And then there's the 4MAX. Oh, okay, I don't have that one, but you know what it looks like. You can just close your eyes and imagine it. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. I love mine like a stepson.
And then the AD-10, you know, okay, I don't have that one either. There's a few Cold Steels I don't have. Anyway, Andrew, along with his brother, John, have had Demko knives for years, and they've made customs and their mid-techs and small batches. And lately, they've been outsourcing some productions, so the lower price point comes in to meet the demand of people like us. Also, in other news, recently they have added Mike Wallace to the team, and you better know who Mike Wallace is.
Oh, yes, sir. That's the one that got you. I remember that video, and also the Bush Ranger.
Yeah, okay.
And then the
All right.
Colossus, and then, you know, those are just the ones you own, sir.
You know, actually, thank you.
Don't forget the new Ocaso.
Hey, right on that one, too. Yeah, I guess you guys have been paying attention. In fact, this whole story was probably a big waste of your time.
That's what we like about the channel, sir. It's stupid and beautiful, and you're barely hanging on by a thread like we
Very
are.
inspirational, sir.
Oh, okay. I like those manners. But today for this video, Mike Wallace reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to check out what Demko is working on right now, specifically the productions. Now, I would encourage you to follow Demko on Instagram, as icky as those words sound together.
Follow them on Instagram.
Along with, I'm on TikTok. I mean, Demko has twice as many followers on Instagram as I do, so you already follow them. You don't need me to tell you. Me, I've been holding steady at 13,000 for like 2 years now, so that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the dimensions of the FreeReigns. Now, there are two production versions of this. There's the Magna Cut, and that's produced in the USA, and those are mostly sold out, and they cost more. They're gone for now. They're gonna come back. They're making more. They just people buy them as soon as they offer them. Now, what you're looking at here is a made in Taiwan line. It's AUS 10A and Tanto and a Droppoint. And AUS 10A is available directly on Demko's website. You can go there right now and find them. All right, production FreeReigns. If you know and are SRK aware, you have a good reference of the FreeReign. You know, SRK is survival rescue knife. You're getting a molded rubber handle here, proportionally speaking, about what the SRK handle is, except the Demko blade is about an inch shorter. Now, the blades on the FreeReigns, they're available in Tanto or Droppoints. And there's a whole world of guys out there just living the Tanto lifestyle. Tanto neck knives, Tanto boot knives, you know. Hopefully they get Tantos for your Crocs. You just got to figure out how to do that. That seems like it could be a type of guy in the future. But I'm more of a choose a Droppoint variation every time guy if there's two, you know. I don't breach a whole lot and haven't had to pierce the armor of a foe lately. However, you can see on the Demko here, there's what's often referred to as the American Tanto, at least on the internet, which is a very American thing. And by that, I mean saying something is ours, but it was actually invented somewhere else, and of course its technical name is something completely different. Now, for a little bit of advanced bro history, what we call the Tanto is descriptive mostly of the tip of the knife blade here in America, but traditionally a Tanto was a small Japanese sword, or what Americans would just refer to now as a fixed blade, you know, just a regular fixed blade, like this. And the traditional usage of the word Tanto could have been any number of variations and blade tip. It never referred to the blade. Now, traditional full swords like the katana had variations of tips, and katanas were not Tantos. The American Tanto tip comes from one of the swords, the big swords, not the small actual Tantos. All I'm saying is, you know, someone's probably going to be like, well, actually, that's not true. And the only thing that is consistent is that knife terminology changes. And when we talk about the American Tanto, we're basically talking about Bob Lum and Cold Steel mishmashes of a bunch of fixed blades and swords and styles. And it changes the American meaning of the word Tanto in the 1970s and 80s. Because up until then, the Tanto just meant a small Japanese sword. I mean, it had a specific look with the handle that kind of tapered near the butt-ish, kind of, they all looked the same. But it didn't really have the tip we associate with the Tanto. Now, looking at the American Tanto here, this area is and I'm going to say these wrong, the Kisaki. And the cutting edge is the Fukara. Now, in the American version, there's a ridge and mostly a straight Fukara. But this is where the tip is more of the straight edge for the chiseling or the scraping. The breeching, the prying, the car hoods, Now, since I generally use a real chisel or pry bar for things Tanto dudes use their knives for, I don't find a whole lot of use for these knives. And I prefer more of a belly on the tip. Now, there are the Tantos with the belly on the tip, and those are, a further confusion of the word. But those things that don't have the straight Fukara, those types of Tantos were more what you would find on the traditional Japanese Tanto knives. Those are like the real Tanto tips. But again, Tanto was never a blade. It was a particular style of knife. And now I've talked about Tantos more than I've ever thought, and I've probably been wrong about a lot of it, so who cares? But the gist is, Tanto used to describe the entirety of the style of knife, and now it means just the tip. Sorry, I just had to rephrase it to say it that way. Could have saved myself a whole bunch of yapping, I guess, with that. Now, AUS 10A is generally a low mid-grade stainless, or in the words of Laren from Knife Steel Nerds, link below, it's like VG10, but a little less corrosion resistant, but tougher overall than 440C. Now, Knife Steel Nerds is the one-stop shop for steel knowledge, right? But, I linked the link below to give them credit, because I did not test this knife that way. I just beat them up and make funny jokes about them. Now, the handle on here has a diamond texture, evokes a pickup bumper or a chrome truck box of yore, back when pickups were not luxury statements whose hoods came up to your nose and occupied every other space at Costco. More of a utility vehicle. The 84-month loan on your Denali seems like a good idea, though, and those trailer hitches aren't fooling anyone. Now, the handle is extremely comfortable. The rubber is a touch aggressive, which is a necessity of the extreme grip style, and more on par with the SRK. And like the SRK, the handle is not removable. A lot of fixed blades are like that, and there are fixed blades with removable handles, or the scales anyway. Now, if you're my brother who makes his own micarta, that's not a problem because he likes making his own knife handles. I have yet to destroy a knife handle or get a significant chunk out of one, as dumb as I am with them. But we'll see. Maybe I'll pound it on a log. Okay. I'm gonna smack it on a log a little bit here. Just for giggles. Anyway, but this knife is, it's got a thick spine, it's built for dumb shit, so, who knows what you're going to do with it. Now, the sheath is ambidextrous. Okay, are we done here? Man? Okay, we got to move on to the next part. We're trying to keep this brief. Now, the sheath is ambidextrous. You do kind of have to take it apart, though, but I assume this is a once type of thing. It took me a little bit of time because it kept dropping the screws and they kept falling out. Trying to do it for the camera, trying to keep it framed. But it has all sorts of loop areas. You might own a chest rig or a molly pack, and I'm sure you could rig up something real cute for the operator lifestyle on your property. Now, you have a Velcro snap jobby up top for a more secure, yet easy way to remove from your belt before going into Red Lobster, having a nice dinner. Comparisons. Well, let's compare them against themselves. Yep, that's what's mainly the difference here. Well, it's the blade. Handles are just a different color. I'm just telling you what you can see, okay? Now the SRK, the Survival Rescue Knife. These will run you about 30, 40, 50 bucks now. Different steels, little different sizes. There's a compact version. They come in a variety for if you have a specific steel necessity. And, knife guys do. It's weird. Doesn't really matter that much, but knife guys will have a steel preference. I did a video about this one called 5 Amazon Survival Knives.
These aren't all survival knives. Some of them are hunting knives. Some of them are you go out and, they're general purpose. I wouldn't call them survival,
All right, how about the Cold Steel Trailmaster?
Yeah, like a trail knife or a fighting knife. That's what that is.
This one's pretty cool. I don't think I reviewed this one yet, but it's awesome, and you don't need a review, right? You know, you just buy it. I have no idea if GSM has put these back into production. Okay, it looks like they have in the higher end steels, and they're going to run you about $250 to nearly $300 for, you know, depending on which version of the steel you want. This is an 01, more of a carbon steel variety that they no longer make, which is the kind I like. I kind of prefer carbon steel fixed blades. I like 3V2, you know. I did give away the Gerber and Buck, so I can't show those here, as you would think that I would give those two away, because you know how I feel about them. And then the Felkneven, it's kind of a cold steel clone, you know. If it had a Gonzo name on the side, everyone would be mad about it. All I gotta say is listen. The Felknevens have a very similar handle and style. They look a lot alike. And the cold steels, if you look back at the catalogs, came a little earlier, so they're kind of their own knife now. You know, this one has a full convex grind, the Felkneven, and they're well-made knives, but there is a very strong resemblance between one another. Anyway, that about does it. Demko FreeReign. It's a wonderful knife, and if you prefer the Tanto, well, bless your heart. You can get these right now on their website or, you know, everywhere else, and I appreciate Demko Knives sending these for review, and soon I'll be doing a giveaway. And I said that about the Ocaso, and I'm going to do it. I've just had a very busy several months. You know, I do have small children and a full-time job. This is not my full-time job. Can you imagine if it was? You know, people would see me around live streaming it, you know, in the park, and I don't do that. You know, I keep this kind of like my secret little thing. You know, the influencer lifestyle, those sorts of people. I kind of hate them, you know, and you know, would you want me to hate myself, huh? Would you want that? You know, we all hate ourselves a little, don't we? I appreciate Demko Knives for being patient, as I've had these for a couple months now. I think Mike gets my whole thing here. Anyway, say hi to the updated patron list. I just finally bought my hard drives for my RAID external storage, and that's pretty cool. Woohoo! 35 TBs. It's in a RAID 5 configuration. You can tell by looking at it, can't you? You know, I apologize to anybody I just turned on by that information. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching.